I remember that. So you apply to get reelected. Michael Gallagher.
Calling to order the Cuyahoga County Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, April the 9th, 2019. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Baker? Here. Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Tuma?
Here.
Mr. Gallagher? Here. Mr. Schron?
Here.
Ms. Conwell? Present. Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Brown? Ms. Brown is absent at the moment. Ms. Stevens?
Present.
Ms. Simon? Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Council President Brady? You have a quorum.
Thank you. Any public comment, Madam Clerk?
Yes. First speaker is Ms. Carlisha Powell.
Hello, my name is Carlisha Powell. I'm a staff representative for the Cleveland region of AFSCME Ohio Council 8. I represent medical staff, including LPNs and social workers at the county jails. I know employees at the jails have contacted some of you asking for help in protecting their jobs as Metro is set to take over. And I'm here to reiterate that ask. I'm asking council to stand up for the current medical staff when Metro takes over and ensure that they have their jobs, that they can continue to provide for their families going forward. The staff includes experienced employees who have been with the county for over 20 years. I hope that their efforts when reaching out to members of council do not go unnoticed, but more importantly, I hope that their jobs, really their careers, are not taken from them once this contract with Metro is signed. Again, these are experienced long-term county employees. They have stayed with the county during this transition. They've tried to remain patient throughout this time of uncertainty, and your support and ensuring and protecting their jobs will go a really long way. Thank you.
David Simperman.
Yes, I am a distant relation. I'm Dave Simperman. I'm with the UAW, Local 1005 in Parma. I'm also chairman of the CAP committee. The nurses that are at the county jail need our help. We don't need to outsource that job. It's terrible. We went through this at Lordstown, and now you're here at the county getting rid of, or trying to get rid of, people that have been working for the county for, as she said, up to 20 years. So I'd like to have you consider this before you vote on this. Thank you.
That's all I have.
So, you know, we have a couple of items in executive session. So I'm going to put a, hard stop on this meeting at 4:30 if it's not concluded, which I assume it will be. But after this discussion on Metro, we're going to go into executive session. So we have the time to do that. All right. This is next item is an agreement with Metro Health System for correctional health care services. And we have Brandy Carney here. Good presentation.
Good afternoon, Council.
Hi.
Too much paperwork. So, good afternoon, Council. Brandy Carney, Chief of Public Safety and Justice for the county. In the audience, we do have Metro leadership here, as well as Sheriff's Office leadership, in case there are additional questions that any of you might have. We also have Jared Z, I'll say, because his last name is a long one, from our law department, who worked along with the prosecutor's office in completing the contracts that's in front of you today. We are requesting approval to move forward with an agreement with Metro Hospital to solely provide our healthcare services at all three of our jail locations in Euclid, Bedford Heights, and our main downtown jail. Offering the appropriate healthcare in our jails is of paramount importance. Our sheriff's office currently provides medical care or service screenings to tens of thousands of individuals throughout an entire year, including a huge number with mental illness and addiction issues, which many of you know. We feel that having a leading healthcare industry professional such as Metro Health operate our entire jail medical program will significantly improve our overall service and delivery. The agreement is for a 3-year term that commences immediately upon approval, totaling no more than $14.1 million annually. The contract will include a total of 120 positions with full staff. Some of the transition required per this agreement will begin immediately upon approval. Both a psychiatrist and a psychologist have been identified by the county and Metro as a priority position, and Metro has stated per the contract that those services will be available as of May 1st. Full administrative staffing, which is also outlined, will be required to be in place by June 30th per the contract. And full clinical, medical, and ancillary staffing will be in place on or before October 31st of this year. Finally, Metro will provide healthcare services that meet or exceed the current standards of the National Commission on Correctional Healthcare, and that will be completed on or before January 1st of 2020, which is great news. We don't have accreditation in the current jail now, so that would be a big step with our medical operation within the jail. And that's something that I think would be an asset and great for all of us. We are excited, with today's request, the county and Metro Health have agreed to an expanded comprehensive health care plan. Some of the additional services that are included in this agreement are additional staff that will be assigned to medical, behavioral, and addiction services, an expanded medically assisted treatment program for inmates with addiction issues with dedicated staff. Medical staff will all receive certified enhanced training on the special needs of jail population and their medical needs through the accreditation agency that I mentioned before. Correctional officers will be specifically assigned to the medical unit for safety and security for the staff, and a new quality improvement program along with tracked metrics to ensure program outcomes. The agreement also requires specific committees and identified staff to sit on these committees so that daily situational awareness is maintained within the jail between corrections and medical, but also outside attention for leadership positions such as county leadership or Metro leadership. Within the contract, it identifies an executive leadership committee that will meet at least once a month. Individuals will look at the metrics provided and review the current operations and situational awareness or issues that are at the jail. On that committee will include representatives from county council, the sheriff's department, the county executive, jail administration, as well as Metro administration. So I think especially with recent events and how many issues that have came up recently that everyone's been involved in, having a monthly meeting with significant leadership to stay on top of what's going on or what might be coming ahead will be a big improvement for all of us. An assigned sheriff's department liaison will work directly with the medical director, and this person will have the authority to institute required change on the correctional security side. A daily safety briefing will be required, and it names the attendees that are required to make sure both security staff as well as medical staff and the sheriff's department will all be on the same page and keep abreast of current issues going on at the jail. Recently, that is being done at this point in time, but it's important that that continues if we move forward with this agreement, and also that all the right people continue to stay involved and on those calls. The inmate also includes detailed requirements following any inmate death or event with serious harm involved. Our current system needs additional improvement and expertise. This in no way is reflective of the amazing and hardworking individuals who have dedicated their time and services to the county at this point. We are very grateful for their hard work and commitment. However, having our jail medical operations run by a single quality medical provider with management and expertise in medical operations through our own county hospital is an invaluable option for Cuyahoga County. The benefits of this opportunity can provide are vast and at such a critical time for our county jail system. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, sir, or some of the audience members. Thank you.
And we'll do that. And also want to remind people, maybe you all know, but Jane Patton from Metro is here as well, and may be able to answer some questions if you have them directed toward Metro. Questions for Frank?
I have a question. I'll defer to my colleague.
That was easy. Shift.
The president to Brandy. Did you mention when this would start if it goes forward, if it's approved today, when it will start?
Sure, Councilwoman. So some of the transition will begin immediately. For example, there is a deadline to have in place the psychiatry and psychology services by May 1st. Metro has agreed to all of the administrative services and staff in place by, I think it was June 30th, and all of the other medical and ancillary staff provided in this agreement by the fall and on or before October 31st. So transitioning over the next half or 3/4 of a year is something, and they were committed to meeting all of the accreditation standards by January of next year.
Okay. Are they playing a role in the jails now? Is there a transition going on now with Metro?
So I can have them speak to that immediately, but I know that they have been actively involved and identifying staff and recruitment as well as training, but I'm happy to, if they want to provide some additional detail on current.
Change.
Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Jane Platt, and I'm the Chief of Staff and Senior Vice President of Administration at Metro Health. And with me today, I have Dr. Julia Bruner, who is our Physician Executive for Ambulatory Operations. She's currently on assignment in the jail medical clinic. She's our leadership over the implementation of the new clinic and system. So Dr. Bruner is on staff. Actually, she's in the clinic almost every day, right? This, for the most part, 4 to 5 days of the week.
I'm working administratively within the jail almost every single day.
So I think that she's the best person to talk about the transition. But to be honest, we've actually been making the transition since the verbal agreement between Dr. Boutros and County Executive Budish, and that was in on or about January 6th, 2019. We have begun a robust recruitment process already. We've made significant process changes and also enhancements to the actual medical care team. And so you want to give a few other examples?
Sure. So the first component of, can everybody hear me? Yes. The first component of what we've been doing is immediately addressing the acute needs of individuals as they come into the jail. So we've instituted a change in the intake process, along with the collaboration of our corrections team, to allow people to see medical within 4 hours of their booking time. So that's one of the first primary things that we've done, and that's allowed us to ensure that we are seeing 100% of individuals as they come into the jail. Along with that, we're doing the health assessments that are required. There's a requirement of doing that within 14 days. We are getting that done for the majority of people as soon as they come into the jail, if not within 2 days of that period of time. We've instituted safety event reporting with all of the staff, so they are aware of how they can report concerns that they have in relation to patient care, so that we can address those issues as they come up. We have the daily safety brief that we started in the middle of January that corrections and Metro participate in every morning at 9:15, every weekday morning, I should say. And we have bi-weekly executive committee calls to go over the issues as they stand, and we've been addressing additional safety issues for staff. We've been working on process improvement programs. There's multiple things that we've been doing in the last 3 months.
I guess my last question would be, this Metro contract Metro will cover our Euclid and our Bedford jails, correct? Okay, are you doing anything right now, Dr. Bruner, with those two areas?
So they're following the same process on intake and health assessments that we were talking about. They're doing the same process around pre-screen evaluations. We're creating a consistent process for all of the individuals as they come into jail.
Okay, Councilwoman Stevens, then Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Council President. Of concern to several unions are the transition with the nurses. How many nurses are involved in this transition, and what has been your process to give them opportunities?
Excuse me. Let me just look for a current number. So we did speak with Metro when identifying terms of this contract, and unfortunately, we were not able to include terms for retaining our current nursing staff. Currently, I apologize, I left it on the printer. We have both RNs and LPNs. I think we're at approximately 18 RNs. That's not budgeted, that's current staff, and approximately 25 LPNs. But if I could, I'd like to provide that information after, because those numbers have changed often recently, because we've had a significant amount of vacancies over the last year. And so I just want to make sure I'm giving you accurate numbers. I forgot I lost that.
So the transition process is what?
So I can say that our law department and legal department is continuing to work on a retention package with the unions, both the UAW as well as AFSCME.
And what about the direct opportunities for the LPNs and RNs themselves? Because those are two separate issues, whether they get hired and whether the union transitions with them.
With respect to this agreement, there were no specific terms included in this agreement for any of our staff.
Then what is the option that Metro is offering them?
Could Metro please speak to this question?
So I'm going to start with some general status on where we're at with recruitment process, and then I'll address the question directly. So in total, we've received over 540 applications for the 120 positions in the Metro Health Jail Clinic. During the last 3.5 weeks, we have done initial screenings and also then have conducted over 120 interviews for the various positions: RNs, LPNs, nurses, clerical, paramedics, medical treatment assistants, and others. As agreed in the Memorandum of Understanding with Cuyahoga County, and now in this contract, Metro Health has considered all county jail staff who have applied for positions. The agreement was that we would consider their applications, we would screen them, and then make determinations as to whether or not they were qualified to go through the interview process. Of the county staff currently, 49 have applied for positions. All have been screened, and all are being scheduled for the interview phase. Some have already completed the interview phase. So all have made it through the screening. In addition, per the Memorandum of Understanding and the contract, we also agreed and committed to considering any current jail staff for other positions within the Metro Health system. So far, approximately 8 of those employees have applied for other positions within Metro Health, and they're also going through that recruitment process. Once the contract's approved, we'll make determinations and implement the hiring phase of the process. We do not currently have UAW as a union. We don't have a union for our RNs at Metro at all. We do have over 2,200 AFSCME employees, of which our LPNs are members, as well as clerical staff. So in the county pool of employees, it's not just LPNs that are in AFSCME. I believe their clerical staff are also in that union. So if we have LPNs or clerical staff currently in the AFSCME union that are county employees and we hire them, they will then be AFSCME employees at Metro Health. But we do not have unionized RNs at Metro Health.
So, point of clarification. I heard Brandy say 18 RNs and 25 LPNs?
Again, Councilwoman,
Approximately.
Approximately, yes, because that number has
So
fluctuated
we're talking
much.
40 to 45 nursing employees, what the general uneducated public calls nurses.
Approximately.
Is that approximately correct? That are part of our system now. And one of the benefits of moving to Metro is that it carries PRS. Is that correct?
Yes, we have PERS.
So there'd be no loss of service if the 50 to 60 people who've interviewed were all retained. Is that correct?
That's my understanding that if they were to transfer and continue in PRS, those benefits would continue.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman
you.
Stevens. Councilman Miller.
Mr. Chairman, Director, I have a question and a comment. First, the question regarding the healthcare standards and meeting the accreditation standards. Is the commitment to meet the standards, or are we actually going to go through an accreditation process conducted by some outside accreditation agency?
Councilman Miller and to the council, we have actually done an RFP process for an accreditation organization. The National Commission on Correctional Healthcare has submitted a proposal, which we are currently negotiating into a contract, and for a contract, I should say. And we are committed to getting accreditation and accredited, and we are committed to creating a medical facility that becomes a national model in correctional healthcare.
Okay. In terms of comment, I'd like to say that I do support this contract. I don't think that the current mixed model that we have, where part of it's being done in-house and part of it's being done by Metro, creates the opportunity for the kind of overall coordination that we need to have a highly successful program. I'd like to thank my colleague, Councilwoman Stevens, for your excellent line of questioning, and say that that I am also very concerned about the where our current county nursing staff is going to end up, and I think we have a responsibility, and what I'm saying is that I don't think it's enough to just say that that you're free to apply and let the chips fall where they may. I think that the county and Metro have to work together as a team and take each individual case under their wing and work with that individual and try to see that they end up with a solution that works for them. And I think that's what we need to do. This is a transition that has to happen, and it's important, but I also think that line staff who have worked for, in some cases, a couple of decades and have worked hard and have given good service and are not at fault in the situation that has developed, we need to take care of them. Thank you.
Miller, Councilwoman Brown, and then Councilwoman Simon.
Thank you, Council President. Just a follow-up from Councilwoman Stevens' question with regards to the interview. You stated that you've had a robust recruitment and that you've already screened all 49. So is that the number that we're looking at?
No, not at all. We have 49 current jail county employees who have applied for positions. Of that 49, all were screened, and all are either scheduled or for an interview or have had an interview. We've made no dispositions whatsoever on any positions as of this date. we needed to have this contract approved before we could do that and make offers.
And could you identify what, if anything, that you could share with us that would negate any of those 49 that have been screened and scheduled for interview from retaining employment?
So we are pretty much following any of the protocol or expectations of hiring that we would in our system, and it's education requirements. It's leadership experience for the management position. If there's employees who get through the interview process and we actually do make offers, there's additional steps such as a tobacco test that they could be eliminated for a period of time based on the fact that they're smokers, right? We have a no smoking employment policy. So those are a couple of examples that could. There's also, even though we were not supervising directly the county nursing staff and the county clerical staff and others, we have been in that environment, in that clinic with them for multiple years. We know their performance to a significant degree. So attendance rates will be considered in terms of, how have they performed in the past. So we know the employees, most of them. Maybe there are some newer employees that we may not have had that much experience with it, but we work and interact with them every day.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess the other question I would have would be for Director Carney. In the event that we have nurses that are that do not meet the standards of Metro Health, is there any place within the county structure where we could potentially retain and place any of the nurses?
Sure, Councilwoman Brown, we have continued to discuss at this point in time. There are not available options, but I can tell you we've continued to have meetings with HR and law and department, and if opportunities come up, we'll absolutely immediately explore those. But at this point, there are not options, unfortunately.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Simon.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to follow up with Councilwoman Brown's question. It was my question about what the county will provide for those who don't make it at Metro. And you say there's no positions open at this time. Are there slots that would be commensurate with the experience of those who are working for the jail at this point, the nurses? Is there something already in place for opportunities? They're just not open yet? Or you're saying that there's just nothing that would be an equivalent for them?
Councilwoman Simon, unfortunately at this point there weren't open positions. I do know, or knowing that Metro would be hiring a number of these positions is encouraging because there could be opportunities for the current staff. As Director Platten had said, they need to hire new staff and they've worked with a lot of these people and seen performance. But for those people who don't have that opportunity, we'll continue to try and identify options with HR, but right now there were not options provided for current opportunities to move people into other departments.
Well, what, if anything, except for waiting, is the administration doing to see that there's a fallback provision?
We met, I can tell you when we started this process, we had met with HR and the law department and discussed this and discussed the positions. It's continued to obviously be on the radar in a discussion. So we will continue to, again, unfortunately, I don't have specific options for the individuals.
With whom are you meeting over at HR?
Well, when we started this process and there were identified positions that Metro came back per the agreement, currently the HR department is working with the AFSCME and the UAW union on a retention package, as I had mentioned before, and that's continuing at this time. So that started approximately 2 months ago. I can't speak specifically, but I know that they've been having conversations on that.
Or if I could, I know we have to go, but I'm not clear. You're saying positions aren't open at this time? Are these only certain positions that the administration is looking at? Or can these employees perhaps find a different kind of employment opportunity at the county other than nursing? Or I'm not clear. Are you only looking at certain positions that would be equivalent to their experience? Or are you looking out, or is HR looking outside of those limited scope of opportunities?
So again, many of the positions such as nursing is more difficult because we don't have other nursing positions in the county. But some of the administrative and clerical, I can again follow up with HR on that topic and see about other opportunities.
Yeah, that's pretty important for us to know if we're
Absolutely.
expected to move forward with this. Obviously, this has been a concern, I think, for most of us sitting here, is that there's at least a safe place for longtime employees to land. And I'm not hearing that that's really the case at this point.
Unfortunately, there wasn't opportunities. I will say that if we are to move forward today, again, there's a transition period that moves until October 30th, and so their transition time. So we will continue to make it a priority.
Councilman Tuma?
Thank you, through the chair. This question would be probably best addressed to Ms. Platten. At the beginning of this process, we heard quite a bit from UAW representatives with respect to their concern over their members not being able to come into Metro as a union. So you indicated that they're ASME workers at Metro, unionized ASME workers, correct?
Correct.
So what in Metro's mind was the issue with another membership coming, another type of union coming into the hospital?
We don't currently have union membership for our RNs, and we are focused on the hiring process right now. Our intent going into this process was to have a robust recruitment and hiring without having transferred the current full staff, right? So at that point, if we do bring in RNs from the current staff, they would be RNs at Metro, non-union. We don't have UAW in our shop right now. We do have AFSCME, but we're not focused on the union component for RNs while we go through this process.
Okay, so I understand you have a process, but I also understand that the folks who are losing their jobs, potentially losing their jobs, really did nothing wrong in this whole process. So they were good workers, hard workers. So my question then is, if they're qualified workers, why wouldn't they each have a job going into Metro?
So we're right now assessing all of the employees that have applied for positions. We've got them through the screening process. We're going through the interview process. We haven't made any determinations. We actually have good relationships with a lot of the staff that's currently in there. They are not losing their jobs right now. There's a transition period. We're going through a very deliberative period of time, but I would say that this contract does not reflect the end of employment for the current county employees.
Okay. Would it allow for future opportunities for them to unionize at Metro?
That is not a decision that I can make right now today.
Well, the implication has been that somehow this council is responsible for those folks not being able to unionize. And I want to say that's wrong. So I'm just letting you know. We've been hearing from a lot of folks. It's on this council. You guys are responsible. We're not responsible. So I want to make that known.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Councilman. When we began the conversation with the county executive, Dr. Boutros made it very clear from the moment go that we would consider the hiring of the employees from the current jail staff, but that we would not just transfer all of those employees over and transfer their union status over. So
was it made clear to union representatives?
They're not our employees and they're not our union.
I understand, but they're part of the dialogue.
That was the responsibility.
You're not the one getting 30 phone calls.
Sure, I understand
or maybe
that.
you
and
are. I don't know.
That was the responsibility per our agreement with the county executive, and we had a meeting on January 4th with Council President Brady, Councilman Gallagher, and County Executive Budish, where this was discussed, and that's when it was determined 2 days later that there was an agreement to move forward with a memorandum of understanding, and it was built into the memorandum, the agreement relative to county employee process.
Yeah, this administration loves memorandums of agreement. All right, Thank you.
I just would like to, I guess, get down to the fundamental question here, which is what our primary purpose here is to provide medical services for the jail. Is that, can we all agree that that's the, and everything else has to be in support of that? Is that a correct statement of where we're trying to go with this memorandum of understanding?
Correct. We're looking for a single provider with expertise in management and medical and health operations to provide these services for our jail system. Correct.
And I can only assume that we've relied on a single source provider in this particular case. If we go forward with this, it's going to be Metro. Is that a correct assumption?
That's correct.
And is it an assumption that they're going to do their best job to fulfill that objective, which is to provide the best medical care? That is what this body is charged with. I'm sorry, but that's what we're charged with. Whatever other issues and things of that nature, we're not charged with that. We're charged with trying to make this best decision, hire this contractor, and if this contractor does the service. And so I know that we're getting telephone calls, but that's really the underlying basis.
Well, thank you very much. Let me just say this. Sounds like you had something else to say.
Thank you.
Brandy.
I just wanted to really say I appreciate the work of the leadership the last few months from the council, being so active in this and really wanting the best for, the jail medical system, as well as the leadership in Metro and county administration have been incredibly active over the last few months. And so I really wanted to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
So thank you.
And I wanted to say that I really know that this county is extremely fortunate to have this large and successful public hospital in this county. It is a rare thing. And the ability that several people in this council have worked for several years to integrate that process has come to a head in a big way. We are in a crisis in this county. We can step up to this crisis, and we can truly say that in a short amount of time that we will have excellent health care in our jails, and that is what we are trying to do here. Now, let me say that I share the sentiments of the council. I've been, close to organized labor my whole life. This is a very painful thing in many ways, but we are committed to try to help and work with Metro to hire as many of these people as possible. We are committed beyond what we're charged with for this MOU to do everything we can to help them. And we have the capacity to do that, but we have to have the will to do that. And we have to have the help of the administration to do that. And it's not going to be easy, but nevertheless, this MOU is the way forward at a time when the county is in a significant crisis. And it's time that we have to step up and do something. Sometimes, when you get elected to public office, you can't just make the decisions that make you feel good, or the decisions that fit with your particular ideology. Sometimes you've got to solve problems, and that's what we're trying to do here this evening. Thank you.
Thank
you. All right. Well, that didn't take quite as long as I thought. So we're going to go into executive session.
Mr. President?
Yes, Councilman? No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We'll be dealing with that later at the council meeting. Thank you, though. All meetings of the Cuyahoga County Council are open to the public under the Ohio open meeting laws. Under that law, council may go into executive session during a meeting for specifically authorized purposes. During executive session, council confers outside the hearing of the public. Council may not make any decisions about any matters in executive session. All decisions are made in public. This afternoon, the council's committee of the whole will go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining matters, impending or imminent litigation. During this time, our live stream will be down. We ask all those not specifically needed for the executive session to remain in the council chambers. Council members will convene in the adjacent committee room A and will re-enter the meeting once the executive session is ended. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining matters and pending or imminent litigation? Moved and seconded. Will clerk please call the roll?
Moving to executive session, Ms. Baker? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Tuma?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher? Yes. Mr. Schron?
Yes.
Ms. Conwell? Yes. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens? Yes. Ms. Simon? Yes. Council President Brady?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we'll adjourn to the meeting for the executive session.
We don't never get a break.
Okay, we are reconvening the Committee of the Whole, and we are now back on record. Is there any miscellaneous business? Hearing none. The Committee of the Whole is adjourned, and we will meet as usual at 5 for the regular meeting. Thank you.